Thank you all. It's great to see you and welcome to the first ever one-of-a-kind Pasadena Innovation zoomavaganza. My name is Minnie, for those of you who don't know me. I'll be the MC for today's event. As Matthew says, I will be kicking people off and muting them and that sort of thing. I'm also on the board of Innovate Pasadena. And what does it mean to build an innovative Pasadena? What do we need? We obviously need great entrepreneurs like the group we have here. We need people with money. We need people with experience. And we need a place like Pasadena to bring them all together. Or in the case of today's environment, a place like Zoom to bring everyone together. So that's what we're doing. The instructions for today's panelists were not just to say who you are, what you do, what your tie is to Pasadena, but also one thing that the community could do for your business. Obviously, we're all here. We all want to see your business succeed. So before I turn it over to the panelists, I'm going to thank Innovate Pasadena first and foremost. I love that Innovate Pasadena helps us all get to know each other. Special thanks to Christy for all of her help with today's event. Second of all, I'd like to thank Ken. There you are, Ken. Thank you so much to Wilson Sonsini, and Ken in particular. He's a lawyer at Wilson Sonsini and one of our upcoming speakers. He's also a very nice guy and likes to meet early stage companies, tech companies, life sciences companies. And finally, thank you to all of you guys for giving your time today and for making Pasadena such a nice place to live. In my remaining time, I'll give my quick introduction. I grew up in Pasadena. I went to Poly for kindergarten through 12th grade with John Keatley up in my upper right-hand corner there. I moved to the Bay Area, and then I just moved back to Pasadena about a year ago to live in the house that I grew up in. And I'm also a VC at a fund called TenOneTen and host of the LA Venture Podcast. You can all give it 5 stars. Next week's episode will feature Jason Schoettler, also one of our upcoming speakers. And my ask, of course, was that you all join me today at this first ever Pasadena Innovation zoomavaganza. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the speakers, starting with Matthew Goldman, founder of Vertical Finance.
Thanks, Minnie. So hello, everyone. I'm Matthew Goldman. I'm the founder and CEO of Vertical Finance, which is a fintech startup based here in Pasadena. I've lived in Pasadena about 15 years now. I first came to LA from going to college at Claremont McKenna. And then after a couple of years wandering in the desert of consulting, went to Green Dot when it was in Monrovia and worked with John Keatley and many others in the community. And then spent some time at yellowpages.com in Glendale, which is part of AT&T at the time. And then started my last company, Wallaby Financial, in 2012. That company was also based in Old Town and was backed by Mucker Capital, among others. I sold Wallaby to Bankrate, which was a public company at the time in 2014, and stayed there for a few years selling people credit cards on creditcards.com, thepointsguy.com, and other big sites. And we built out a pretty good office in the Playhouse district. And then we Bankrate was sold to another big company on the East Coast. So that was enough big companies for me. That was just 2 years ago this month that I left Red Ventures, which was that company. And after exploring what I want to do, started Vertical Finance about 1.5 years ago. And Vertical Finance is, like I said, a fintech company. We're focused on helping consumers connect with their hobbies and passions through payments. So we're building rewards credit cards for things people love that are not just travel or Walmart. And we're about to launch our first product. I was allowed to bring props. So this is the Grand Reserve World MasterCard coming soon to a wallet near you. And my ask is, if you're interested in wine or like reward points, you can get on our wait list at grandreserverewards.com. Thanks.
Great. Well done. Grandreserve.com. Go to Vertical Finance, right?
Verticalfinance.com or grandreserverewards.com.
Fantastic. Okay, next up, Chang, who used to be my running buddy and also used to be at Upfront and now is at Sensate Ventures.
Hi, everyone. I am a relatively new member of the Pasadena community. I moved to Pasadena half a year ago after I started at Sensate. because I used to live on the west side when I worked at Upfront. My husband works at NASA JPL, and I thought I would save him the commute by being good to our marriage. And what my tie to LA is really on his side. His family is in Orange County. He was born and raised there. But I'm a reformed Angelino, and I'm loving it in LA. I was born in China, but then I grew up in the East Coast, and I was an operator before I became a VC. I did consulting. I co-founded a startup. I joined another startup as a product manager, and then joined Upfront, and now at Sensate. So 10 seconds about Sensate. We are a $140 million seed fund investing in AI and automation. And half of what we do are AI, infrastructure, dev tools, the 3D technical stuff. And the other half of what we do are thinking through traditional industries and how do they change over the next 10 years. And we invest against that change. And my entire fund is based in the Bay Area. So I used to travel a lot. And then I would run with Minnie on Fridays in Pasadena. But now with COVID, I am enjoying spending all of my time in Pasadena and really excited to be here. So as a classic VC, my ask of the community is love to see deals. If you're working on any companies or starting any companies, love to talk to you as well, and love to help.
Thanks, Chang. Great. John Keatley, fellow classmate, high school classmate of mine.
Start with that young, Minnie. We were not quite the same class, but close enough. We'll let it fly. Yeah, I am born and raised in Pasadena. Left for many years. Came back initially working at Green Dot, where I first worked with Matthew, and spent a bunch of good years at Green Dot. Then moved with my family back to Sweden, to Stockholm, Sweden, where I was the CFO of a company called Klarna that does point of sale financing for e-commerce, which is a good story. A company that's doing great things in the point of sale e-commerce space. About 4 to 5 years ago, I founded a company here in Pasadena called ScratchPay. ScratchPay provides simple, transparent payment plans for pet owners so that they can access veterinary care at the clinic. Today, we're offered in about 1 in every 5 vet clinics in the country. And we recently launched in human medical care as well. So you can actually use ScratchPay now at the dentist, at the eye doctor, or at the orthopedic surgeon. But still, veterinary care is our main thing. My prop was a poodle that just ran away. So I can't show you, I'll show you my prop later. And I have a request for the group. We have a new product. It's called Take 5. Take 5 allows you to pay for your veterinary bill in 5 interest-free installments. So you pay the first payment up front, and then you pay the next 4 payments every 2 weeks thereafter, completely interest-free. Go to scratchpay.com, see if your veterinarian or your dentist or your eye doctor accepts ScratchPay, and if so, please give it a try and let me know how it works for you. I would love to get some feedback on it and get more people up and using the platform. This is a brand new product that we literally rolled out about a week ago in most clinics. So thanks, excited to be here, Minnie, and thanks for putting this together.
This is great. I think I'm going to take all the asks and send it out later and just spam you guys with each other's asks. I like that idea. Also,
Great.
You were frozen, so it was a particularly interesting, it was a great feat. Anyways, let me turn it over to Fred Farina. Fred, this says Caltech Innovation, but I know you do much more. I know you do corporate partnerships and run the tech transfer office. So I'm excited to hear from you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Is the timer going or not? I don't see it.
Now it is.
Everybody's been on time. So I've been at Caltech for a long time. Actually, this week, it's my 19th year in tech transfer at Caltech. Started as a licensing associate, and then a few years later started running the office and expanded to other areas. So initially, I came to California from France after doing an engineering degree in France, in Lyon, and came to Caltech as a student, got a master's in WE, then went to JPL to work on GPS systems, chasing earthquakes in the Mammoth area and various areas in the Caribbean and South America. And then decided to make a switch into IP, went to law firm. That's led me to Caltech, back to Caltech on the staff 19 years ago. And so now our office manages all IP out of Caltech and JPL, all students and faculty members that come up with new ideas. We manage that. We do the patenting, the licensing. We try to help them with starting new companies. It's all deep tech, as you can imagine, at Caltech. With help with business plans, with path to market. We have EIRs on staff. We're trying to work on a seed fund. And we also try to establish relationships with corporations in the corporate partnerships area. But that's all boring. More interesting to me, I was born in Corsica, where Napoleon was from. I grew up in a hotel. Family hotel that was only seasonal, and in the summer, it was only open in the summer. In the winter, it was out in the woods. It was truly like The Shining in terms of living there as an only child. I got various pets that are unusual, since we talk about dogs. Wild boars, hawks, and seagulls were my pets growing up. I'll stop there.
That was great. I wanted to ask about the seed fund, but now I want to ask about the wild boars. Anyways, Jason Schoettler from Calibrate Ventures, top that.
Well, it's ironic that you're connecting me right after Fred. I haven't seen Fred in a long time, and Caltech's part of the reason that I came down to Pasadena about 20 years ago, actually. Just before you started there, Fred, I worked for a startup out of JPL and Caltech that was an enterprise software company. And that's what brought me down from the Bay Area. And I love Pasadena. I actually never thought I'd live in Southern California for longer than a year. And here we are 20 years later, and we couldn't be happier. So after I joined that startup, in 2002, I was recruited into the dark arts of venture capital to join a firm called Shea Ventures, which was a family office-backed venture capital firm. I worked there really from 2002 until I co-founded Calibrate Ventures, which is an early stage venture capital firm 2 years ago with my longtime partner, Kevin Dunlap, who also did a stint at JPL. So there's a really nice Pasadena connection for Calibrate. We invest nationally, but we love our local companies because they've been really good to us. You'll hear from Paolo, Pirjanian, I think a little later, who we've now backed twice. And also other companies in LA that we've backed include Dollar Shave Club and Ring, where we were both investing when the companies had early initial revenue and help them scale through, through some great acquisitions. My ask is real simple. Send me your ideas and your best ideas and your best thoughts about what's changing in this economy that we're living in. I'm really curious to think about how everyone sees automation changing the world. And if you're working on a company, send it our way.
Perfect. Wei, good to see you. Thanks, Jason. I miss you. I think Wei was responsible for bringing Alibaba Pictures to Pasadena. Tell us about it. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. So I'm a relatively newcomer to Pasadena. I moved here about 4 years ago. I'm originally from China, grew up in Beijing. I came to the States, studied, worked, and studied again a while ago for 10 years, and then went back to China to work. Had a few jobs in media industry, worked for News Corp, NBC Universal, and then I joined Alibaba Group in 2008 to build a corporate development team. And at that time, I never thought one day Alibaba will be in media and entertainment, and then now in full circle, I'm back in media and entertainment. So the Pasadena office is one of the 7 offices we have here in the US. And as you all know, Alibaba is an e-commerce company, but we like to see ourselves as the company that builds infrastructure, for commerce in general. So it's not just physical products, but also digital products and services. And here in Pasadena, the office was set up a little over 4 years ago. It was initially set up as the sort of entertainment hub for us to connect Hollywood to China. China is the second largest film market in the world right now. So we here invest in film projects. We also invest in companies. For example, we have invested in Embodied Partners, which is Steven Spielberg's company. But we also work with the studios and bring their films to China. We like to see ourselves as the gateway from Hollywood to China. And in addition to entertainment, we have also added e-commerce units in this office here. So there's a group of people belong to our Tmall services where they bring US small medium company to go to market in China. And also with that, we have our logistics team here as well. So my ask is, if I can help with things, go to market in China, please contact me.
That's great. Thanks, Lei. Good to see you. Andy Wilson, are you there? You have to turn your video on. I know Andy, do you know everyone already?
Minnie, I knew you were going to ask that question. And I did a quick inventory. I know everyone except for 7, though I was on the fence with John Waller because of the beard. So the COVID thing definitely has people, and I need a haircut. So anyway, Minnie, thanks tons for setting this up. This is a lot of fun. It's great to see a lot of friends who I can't see in person. For those who don't know me, my day job is running a not-for-profit called the Alliance for Southern California Innovation, which is really about elevating Southern California's role as a global innovation hub. I serve part-time on the city council, hence my drinking habit. I co-founded Innovate Pasadena, and hopefully everyone who's listening has been involved or gone to the Friday morning coffee meetup, which was something I put together like 7 years ago in the back room of Jones's Coffee. And I'm just thrilled to see how a lot of those efforts have continued. The Alliance really kind of came out of our success, I think, at Innovate Pasadena. We really think Southern California is a tremendously compelling place for innovation. Ironically, the Alliance was founded by a number of Silicon Valley luminaries who felt Northern California was saturated and Southern California really had great potential. So I thank them for that vision. That group included folks like Eric Schmidt and Janet Napolitano and Steve Poizner and Larry Sonsini. I see Ken, so Ken's boss has been a tremendous supporter of our work in really elevating all of Southern California, not just Pasadena. And I think we're doing a great job trying to replicate some of the success that we've had at Innovate Pasadena, really just bringing community together. And I think I'd reflect just for a second as someone who's an innovation junkie. We need innovators, we need entrepreneurs, but then we need VCs who can build portfolio and see patterns. Go Minnie, go other VCs. We need angels, of course. I see Stender, we need angels too. We need a real ecosystem. And that's where I'm focused. I'm focused on ecosystems. So when you think about kind of the highest impact way to touch the most entrepreneurs, it's really ecosystem building. And that's our work at the Alliance. I will mention kind of a sneak preview. We are going to soft launch a program with Silicon Valley Bank called Venture Pipeline that will identify Series A ready companies and match them with the most appropriate VCs locally and beyond. I think especially in today's circumstances, capital will continue to be constrained, and entrepreneurship is not constrained. Clearly in these down markets, we see an explosion of entrepreneurship. And so we really want to help entrepreneurs realize their vision. I'm not sure how many seconds I have left, Minnie, but I have
None.
Can I make an ask?
Yeah, you can.
I just ask that entrepreneurs don't get discouraged. I know it's extra challenging today, but so many great companies have been developed in downturns. And so I just, keep the faith and rely on your community and your supporters. We'll get through this, and some of the best companies have been built in downturns. And thanks again, Minnie, for pulling us together.
Thank you, Andy. Thanks for all you do. John Waller, what's been going on? How you doing?
I'm well. Thanks for putting this together. I never thought the beard would get so many hits, just keep on coming. I'm not sure how long it's going to be around, but since Andy ate into most of my time, I'll keep it nice and short. Just kidding, Andy. I love an excuse not to talk. So native Pasadena grew up here, moved to New York for 10 years where I started a company and then a second company and a third company, and decided that I liked the earliest stages of entrepreneurship and company building, and sort of became a angel investor from some of my experiences from entrepreneurship, and got married. Didn't want to have kids in New York City, nothing wrong with that, just wasn't my thing. So moved back here to Pasadena, joined Idea Lab, and was there for about 4 years, Pasadena Angels before that. And just about 3-4 years ago, joined a good college friend and another colleague at Okapi Venture Capital. Okapi is an early stage venture fund, very much like a lot of these early stage funds, colleagues here on the panel. The one or two differences I'd say is we focus almost exclusively on Southern California. Almost every deal we do is here in Southern California, Santa Barbara down to San Diego. So really narrow focus here. And then we're also high conviction investors. So board observers seat on almost every deal we do. All three partners have deep operating backgrounds, so we like to add value where we can and invest where we can add value. Pretty agnostic as far as the type of opportunities we look at. We focus more on B2B, but we'll look at consumer. Don't focus only on frontier tech, but certainly aren't scared of it either. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's a great nutshell. It's good to see you.
You too.
Robbie from ArtCenter, it says entrepreneurship, but I know Robbie's doing a lot in the community too. Is Robbie on?
Hello.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Thanks, Minnie. So Robbie Nock, and I'm the Director of Entrepreneurship at ArtCenter in Pasadena. I grew up in Boston and lived for many years in the UK. I studied literature at the University of Edinburgh. And that took me down a path of as a photographer, and from photography that led into media production and the early days of immersive entertainment. That path led down to the startup world, and I started my own company as a creative founder and ran into lots of barriers, but ultimately discovered that artists and designers are excellent founders, and they have a huge set of skills that are very valuable for early stage companies. And so that led me to California and to ArtCenter, and I lead our community in teaching art and design to create, teaching artists and designers how to launch and grow businesses, and then equally helping companies think about how to activate the power of design within their existing operations. So my goal is to really unlock the collaborative potential between designers, engineers, technologists, scientists, and researchers, and to really see Pasadena as this incredible intersection of thinkers, makers, doers, and entrepreneurs. And I guess my ask for all of you is to really rethink what your assumptions are about the value of design and where it sits within your existing ecosystem. We have so much to offer, and we're here to be a resource and a help in lots of different ways. So get in touch and turn it all on. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Robbie. Yeah, no, I agree. You're very approachable. Thank you for always replying to me when I need to get in touch. Look, Brian Nolan, who I actually don't know very well. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Minnie. How are you? Thanks for having me. If you guys haven't listened to Minnie's LA Venture podcast, by the way, jump on there and listen to that. It's fabulous. I'm Brian Nolan. Nice to see y'all. I'm the co-founder of a company called Sellbrite based here in Pasadena. And Sellbrite is a software company. We offer a solution that makes it easy for small brands and retailers to get online and sell their products on the major online marketplaces like Amazon, eBay. So wait, we need to talk later. But last year, Sellbrite was acquired by GoDaddy. And so now GoDaddy has an office here in Pasadena. And we were about 20 people at the time. And so now we all work for GoDaddy. I'm now the head of product for many of the e-commerce solutions at GoDaddy, including the marketplace integrations that we power for them. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, and I went to USC, so I'm an Angelino through and through. But my roots in Pasadena go back to 2007, where I worked for a company called CPO Commerce. And you're going to hear from Rob, the founder, later on, so I'm not going to spoil his story too much. But the idea and the seed for Sellbrite, my company, came from my time working at CPO. I was in charge of, among other things there, one of my roles was to get us listed and get us selling on Amazon and eBay and some of these other marketplaces. So I got to experience the pain points of selling on those channels and having a multi-channel experience, and also got really familiar with what solutions were available on the market, and none were that good, and they're all really expensive. And so I left CPO in 2010 and became head of product at another company, another small startup. But during that time, kind of we're working on the idea for Sellbrite on the side. And it brought me back to Pasadena in 2013 because our first investor was Idealab. So we joined Idealab in 2013 and really launched the company at that point. And we spent 3 years working in the Idealab facility and grew the company from there. And when we moved out and it was time to get our own location, we decided to stay in Pasadena because we not only loved it, but also had hired a bunch of people in the area. And so we didn't want to move anywhere and disrupt the company. So we stayed in Pasadena. We still have our office on Green Street next to Rocco's Tavern, if you know where that is. And eventually I moved my family out here too. So now we live in Pasadena. My wife works at another tech company called Everbridge in Pasadena. And we love it here. So, you know, Pasadena has a special charm that not a lot of cities have, which is great. That's what we like. My company is in Old Town, which is great for recruiting and talent and stuff when we have people come out and take a look. And my ask would be just to keep talking about Pasadena. A lot of times when I tell people that we're based in Pasadena, the response is, oh, I didn't know, you know, that there's tech companies in Pasadena or whatever. They always think it's just only on the west side. So just keep spreading the news, keep telling people that Pasadena does have a thriving tech community or a startup community and an entrepreneur community, and get people aware so that they bring more resources here and more talent here.
I love it, Brian. That's what I love doing, is talking about Pasadena, seriously. Anna, who has one of my new favorite products and investments, and the founder of Sensate, or CEO of Sensate, founder, CEO.
Yeah. Great, thank you. Yeah, Anna Gudmundson, so CEO of Sensate. So we have a product that deals with the arguably most dangerous pandemic that we have right now, which is stress and anxiety, and all the related issues. So that's inflammation, lowered immune system, cancer, heart disease, what have you. And unfortunately, the vast majority of the population suffer from significant stress and anxiety. So it's a really gigantic problem. So this is part of the product, which is this hardware and software. So you put it on the sternum where you get the best bone conduction. You put on headphones, you select a session in the app, and you run a Sensate session for 10 to 30 minutes. It's a key differentiator for us that we're not attacking the brain, but bypassing the monkey mind and so going direct to the primal part of the nervous system that regulates the stress response. So this is both for relaxing straight away, but also for longer term stress resiliency. And we're using infrasonic resonance, amongst other things, to tone the vagus nerve. And so my co-founder, Stefan, he worked over 30 years and he's well recognized with stress and trauma. And so we started this reading and developing this product because it's actually worked. And, you know, he's worked with tens of thousands of trauma patients. And also because the product, then we can reach the millions versus the few affluent people who can sort of visit a clinic. My background, I worked always in tech, so large and small. I've been turnaround CEO, CEO of a PLC. I've raised money, I've pivoted, I've scaled, I've failed, I've restructured, I've sold. And I'm feeling privileged to be working now with a company and a product that solves such a big problem, and also in a powerful way, and you know, leaves the world in a better place, I guess. So I'm also new to the community. I'm Swedish by origin. I've lived in 6 countries, and it's business and investment brought me to Southern California. So I'm super excited about that. I ask, so I definitely want to speak to anyone who's interested in taking part in our seed round. And also we have an Indiegogo campaign. So if you go on Indiegogo and put in Sensate, Sensate, you can both find the product and also support us. So that would be really amazing. Thank you.
Fantastic. Another great product founder, Paolo, is up next. And everyone should go watch the video, because I watched the video of the animate companion and it's such a great video. Anyways, Paolo, are you there?
Thank you, Minnie. Yes, glad to be here. Actually, Moxie is right there, if you can see it on the video. So I came to Pasadena about 21 years ago to work at NASA JPL, which was a childhood dream job of me. I had just graduated my PhD in Denmark, Aalborg University, and then came straight to Pasadena to work on Mars exploration rovers, which was an awesome job. But while I was there and enjoying it, I got approached by Idea Lab, Bill Gross, who wanted to start a company in robotics. I thought that was crazy, way too early, but nonetheless, very interested in learning about entrepreneurship. So the curiosity got the best of me, and I joined Idea Lab to help start a company, which was interesting, but way too early, didn't go anywhere. I took some of the core tech we had developed there, spun it out into Evolution Robotics in 2008. We developed these products here, robotic floor cleaners using navigation technology. And actually Jason, who just spoke earlier, led our Series C round. And 6 months later, we sold the company to iRobot. So Jason was happy with that outcome. After being CTO of iRobot for a couple of years, I decided to leave in 2015 and start a new company, Embodied, which is also based in Pasadena. We are on Colorado Boulevard, right across from Paseo. The mission for Embodied is to merge robotics with healthcare to help enhance human performance and experience. The first product is Moxie right here, which is to revolutionize child development for children, particularly with anxiety, depression, autism, and so on. So it's a very interesting company. It's a mashup between robotics and AI, neuroscience, child development, psychology, and Hollywood entertainment, because it's an interactive, lifelike character that is to get the child wanting to engage with the robot to do that. My ask, I didn't see the timer, so I'm sorry if I overstepped it. My ask is we are actually just announced 3 weeks ago. We have had a phenomenal reception, which is super exciting to see when you bring a new child to the world, that people are so excited about seeing it. And we're looking for expanding our talent. So particularly in areas of conversational AI, NLP, and so on, would be lovely to get references. So please connect with me on LinkedIn and let's chat if you have talent. Thank you.
Great, we'll get to Maria later. And so next up, Ken, thank you so much for being a sponsor of today's event and for always helping early stage entrepreneurs. Tell us about you.
Well, thank you so much, Minnie. It's great to see good friends on the line today. We really appreciate everything that Innovate Pasadena is doing, and for each one of you for the community. So I'll be brief. I mean, whether it's incorporating your first startup, raising your first seed funding, or taking the company public, our firm, Wilson Sonsini, which Andy had mentioned, has been really fortunate to be a trusted advisor for fast growth companies and in tech and life sciences, as well as the organizations that support them, such as Caltech, Idea Lab, and Andy's Alliance, as well as Innovate Pasadena. And so we cut our teeth in Silicon Valley, being one of the first law firms during its infancy, and was really lucky to take companies like Apple, Google, GoDaddy, Blackline, and Revolve public. And as a result, we're really passionate about doing whatever we can to help out the Pasadena ecosystem here. So, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm here locally with any legal questions, no matter big or small, and happy to help.
Well, that was brief. Ken, you're fantastic. I will try to send people your way and really appreciate it. Great. I'm moving over to Maria. Maria, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Minnie, thank you everyone. I'm very happy to be here today with you all. So today I am a general manager of the experimentation platform and business services in the AI platform group at Microsoft. My team of program managers, software developers, data scientists provide a broader set of tools for experimentation and analysis tools that Microsoft teams use to make data-driven decisions for product and features. Some of our customers are Microsoft 365, Xbox, Bing, MS News, Visual Studio, Azure, and many others across the company. Additionally, I'm an active advocate of diversity and inclusion, and I love to participate and engage in recruiting talent across the US and the world for Microsoft. By now, some of you may be thinking, okay, what is your Pasadena connection? I'm originally from Venezuela. 30 years ago, I came to LA to study English, to do a master's in computer science in Canada. But LA was supposed to be a quick stop, but things changed and I decided to stay and I went to Cal Poly Pomona instead. I grew up watching the Rose Bowl in Venezuela and I love Pasadena since then. So my husband and I established our home many years ago here. We have 3 kids. They are all born in Pasadena and still live in Pasadena. And I also worked many years ago at Overture Yahoo, right in the Parsons building in Old Town. And up to 3 months ago, before COVID-19 hit, I was commuting every day, every week to Seattle, where I am, based. To close, I have 2 thoughts. COVID-19 has accelerated and transformed the way we work and we function as a society. And as organizations embrace more remote work, more openly, and some companies permanently, this can be wonderful for underrepresented groups because we have the opportunity to tap talent anywhere in the world and they can potentially work remotely without the need of relocating. So I'm asking, the first ask is consider, hiring talent that can work remotely. And of course, we are hiring all kinds of disciplines, machine learning, data scientists, developers all over in Microsoft. So if you are interested or have talent, please check careers.microsoft.com and reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. That was great. Representing Graycroft, Brent Baltimore.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, cool. This is awesome. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Minnie, for the invite. And hello, everyone. So I guess quick background on myself. My mom is born and raised in Pasadena. I also grew up in the area. I went to Loyola High School. There's a number of Loyola flags that I see flying every now and then. Went to Claremont McKenna. Heard, I think, Matthew say he was a CMCer as well. We should definitely connect. I guess prior to joining Graycroft, I bounced around a lot. So I came out of school, went into banking and then venture in the Midwest, and then moved to the Bay Area and helped start a company called Operator, using machine learning to help people buy stuff, and then left there and joined a different company. Went to this also in like the ML space, moved out to Chicago for business school, and then initially worked with Graycroft and the New York team prior to moving home. So for Graycroft, we've been in LA and in New York for a while. We are a seed to growth investment firm, so it was a little over the $1 million check up to 40 million. Investing out of our 5th early stage fund, 2nd growth fund. We're about 50% enterprise, 50% consumer. I sit on the enterprise team, so 100% of my time is there. So to the extent that, whether it be other investors or founders that want to connect with us, absolutely would love to speak with you. I think specifically my ask is for the group, like I'm from the city, just kind of getting comfortable moving back. And I would love to collaborate with those that are interested in continuing to drive Pasadena forward. So whether it be Claremont College's folks or some of the high schools or what have you. I'm just super excited to meet folks and build relationships. So.
Thanks, Brent. Yeah, I agree. Pasadena's, I mean, it's a great place to be if we could get out of our houses. But anyways, Sean Brady.
Hi, Minnie, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, thank you for putting this together. So my name is Sean Brady. I'm the CEO of Avicina. We have 13 full-time employees. We're based in, or we're until the pandemic, based in Old Town Pasadena. These days I'm working from home with a 2.5-year-old and a 6-week-old who decided that a global pandemic was the right time, to come into this world. So it's an interesting time to be working from home. What we are working to develop is we've actually licensed some technology out of Caltech, so gotten to work with Fred and the team there and had a very good experience. And we're working on a way to non-invasively diagnose cardiovascular disease. Specifically, that someone is right, I think, over your shoulder, Minnie, specifically a disease called heart failure, which is very hard to diagnose. So normally the gold standard way to do that is actually by placing a catheter through your wrist or your groin, and then in the cath lab, having that placed inside your heart to measure a very specific pressure. And my prop is this device, which we call the Vivio. And so what we're doing is we're taking that technology out of Caltech, and we place this device lightly against your neck where you feel your pulse on your carotid artery. And we're non-invasively, in about 2 to 3 minutes, getting that same information as you'd get from within a cath lab. So we're doing a number of clinical trials in the area. We've done work with City of Hope and Cedars-Sinai, and now working with a hospital called Garfield Medical Center in Monterey Park, and moving our way through FDA clearance for first quarter of next year. One specific tie-in with COVID is actually about 15 to 20% of survivors are developing newly onset heart failure. So we really see this device as being an important tool in picking up that disease burden in the future. And then the one ask that we have is we're always interested in talking to investors. We're doing a Series B in the next few weeks. So if anyone's interested, I encourage you to please get in contact. Thank you.
Wow, thanks, Sean. That was really interesting. I did not know that's what you were doing. Thank you. And thank you, Trey, who's the supplier of my kombucha. Someone was asking how much alcohol there is. We'll have to ask Trey that.
I thought I saw a Better Booch in your frame there, Minnie. So
that's right.
My name's Trey. I am the founder and co-founder and CEO of Better Booch. Better Booch looks a little bit like this. This is our product if you've seen it anywhere, Whole Foods and the like. We've been around going on 9 years now, and bootstrapped it. I was a touring musician. I met my wife here in LA 10 years ago, and she was also a touring musician, singing background for Rihanna at the time, both of which got some early success and realized that that was not a sustainable lifestyle for ourselves. So wanted something healthier, and we landed on kombucha. Our mission is to bring health and wellness and make the healthiest choice the obvious choice. I want to just thank Minnie for having me, and also to Andy, who I didn't realize was part of the Friday meetup, but we just did that recently and had a lot of fun with it. So I really appreciate that. And I think the rest I could just say is we do have an ask, I guess. We're launching our first Series A after 8 years. We did a seed round of $2.5 million a year ago. And we've got a lot of new innovations and products we want to bring to market this year, and launching in Target later, as well as new Whole Foods regions. So a lot of excitement on the expansion side, and a lot of interesting stuff there. So yeah, I guess that's kind of, I've been in East LA all the way for the last 10 years. So I'm proud of this community, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. And thanks for having me.
Thanks, Trey. I'm trying to do my part by drinking as much kombucha as humanly possible.
Appreciate that. You and me both.
Yeah, great. And next up, Harrison. And Harrison's also on the board of Innovate Pasadena and has an upcoming AMA, I believe.
Yep, it's next Wednesday. So if you guys have time, feel free to join. I think the topic is on how to pivot business models, right? So yeah, feel free to join and I can answer any questions you might have. So very quick, yeah, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Spokio, and Spokio is a leading people intelligence platform that helps people search and connect and know who they're dealing with. So we organize about 14 billion records into easy to understand profiles so that people can connect with others, such as like finding long lost families and friends, or real estate agents like trying to find leads, or to protect and verify people's identities, such as a famous blogger once said, Spokio before you date. So remember that. Or law enforcement officers like catching the bad guys. So we're a leading people intelligence service that helps people, because one of the things people don't realize is 8% of searches online are about people. So it is a very, very big market, and we are a leading service that fulfills that market need. So I started in 2006, right out of college. I went to Stanford and got some funding from the dumbest investors in the world, which is my parents, and later found out that when we almost ran out of money twice, I went to my parents. I later found out that they written it off when they give it to me. So that's how much confidence my investors have in us. And but one of the things that I think a lot of you guys know, one of the things that my dad actually shared with me is that he said, success is not about whether you gone to Stanford or Ivy League or not. Success is about whether you can last longer than your competitor. So we did that, and we pivoted from a social network aggregator, which is me-centric, to actually a social search engine. And that's how we got the product market fit in 2008 and actually grow ever since. So today we have about 180 people all in Pasadena, California. Actually, before this pandemic, about 4 years ago, we have this no work from home policy. We have since relaxed that, but then almost every one of us are in Pasadena, California. So culture is a big thing for us, so that we really care about that. Our mission is to make the world more transparent. So one of the answers that we want to really answer for ourselves and for our users is, who is this person? Who are we? What is identity, right? So my ask for the community, because at the end of the day, people is the core value of what Spokio is, right? So my ask for the community is, if you know people who's interested to solve this problem, right? It's a 1,000-year-old problem. Like, who are we? It's a 1,000-year-old problem. Like Shakespeare said, to be, not to be, right? The question of being is something that's innate to our human nature. So if you know people who are interested in solving this problem, please refer to me, email me, or go to spokio.com/careers. Thank you.
That's a good ask, Harrison. I appreciate it. Rob Tollison, are you going to solve that? It's a big ask for you.
I've got Hawaiian shirts I can bring to the world with.
Good answer. Good answer. Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Yeah. Thank you, Minnie. My wife and I moved to Pasadena 16 years ago. I had run CNN.
I missed Alex. Sorry. Did I miss Alex? That's what someone said. No. Oh, yeah. Alex, I'll come back.
No problem.
Rob, you keep going. I'll go back to Alex. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, my wife and I moved out here 16 years ago. I had run CNN's news organization's digital business, and I had founded a digital media startup called Fast Forward, which is a lot like CNET. I had founded a company called Click Radio, digital music subscription, which was kind of pre-Pandora. And then I had this idea to start an online home improvement, e-commerce business. I founded it here, right above Los Tacos. And then we got bigger and we moved to Mijares, right next to Mijares. So we have a theme in our company. We're always near a Mexican restaurant. And I sold that business a couple years ago. It's now owned by Staples. And it does about 250 million a year in revenue. It's still based in the Mijares parking lot, but there's warehouses and fulfillment centers all over the country offering 1- and 2-day shipping on tools and outdoor power equipment and generators, things like that. When I sold, I started investing in early stage tech, and I did a number of investments in funds and in founders. And then I made one investment outside of tech, which was this Aloha shirt company called Ren Spooner. And it's been around since 1956, and came into that just for fun. And then it turns out it needed to be a turnaround. And so I joined that as CEO about 5 months ago to try to turn it around, and was making some progress until the virus hit. And now we've got all of our customers are shut down. We're in Nordstrom and Macy's. Neiman Marcus is now bankrupt. All of our stores have been shut down for almost 3 months. So we're struggling, but there's a bright spot. We started making these face masks, lovely Aloha face masks. And we went live with them on Wednesday, and we sold $100,000 of face masks in one day at 91% gross margin. So that was a great day in the history of this company. And we've got more coming. So my ask is, please come to our site, renspooner.com, if you want Aloha shirts, or if you're interested in masks. We're out of stock, but we'll be back in stock with another 10,000 masks next weekend. So that would be much appreciated, because we're trying to get back in business.
Definitely, I'm buying them all. That's great. Thank you, Rob. I'm going to go backwards to Alex, who I skipped. And it's so awesome. You guys, every single panelist showed up. I thought like a third of the panelists would show up. Anyways, Alex, back to you.
Thank you. Thanks for putting this on. This is great. I'm a video game developer. I've been making video games for the last 30 years. I've been in SoCal for the last 10 years. My first exposure to video games was when I was in grade school. My parents brought home an Atari 2600. So if anybody's as old as me and played on the Atari 2600, we're, I guess, I don't know, gaming bros or something. But that was in New York, where I grew up. That was my introduction to video games. I went to college in Chicago, where I wanted to study computer science, but my school didn't offer a computer science degree. So I studied mathematics, and my kids still can't believe that I have a degree in mathematics, but I do. College, I met a couple of business partners, also met my wife. So I'd say that was a pretty successful endeavor right there. Started a company right out of college called Bungie. If you've played a game called Halo, that's some of my work. That company was acquired by Microsoft in 2000. Hi, Maria. And was off in Seattle for a few years working on the Xbox. My wife and I moved back to Chicago to start a family, and I also started another game studio called Wide Load Games, which was in turn acquired by Disney, and that's how I got out to SoCal, was through that acquisition. That was 2009. Ran Disney's video game business for a few years until starting Industrial Toys, which is my current studio. It's here in Pasadena. We started in Old Town, just moved down to Lake Street about 6 months ago. Of course, we're all working from home right now, but we're making video games for mobile devices. That studio was acquired by Electronic Arts 18 months ago. It's been growing quite a bit. We have 50 developers in the studio. My ask for the community is, if you know anybody who would like to have a career in video games, check out the link, because we're hiring.
Great. Thanks, Alex. Make sure I've got this right, to my favorite health tech investor, Jay Goss.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Minnie. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Ken. Good to be here. So I ran into the office today. I'm not in the office, but I think 11 or 12 of you have been in the office behind me. I took that picture for you, Minnie, and that would be my office, but really it's my virtual background, my Pasadena office that I've only seen once in, I guess, 9 or 10 weeks. But it makes me feel weird that I'm sort of sitting in my office without sitting in my office. But since this was about Pasadena, I thought I'd do it for at least you, Minnie. So yeah, as Minnie mentioned, I'm with Wavemaker 360 Health. We're a 100% healthcare fund, which I've come to realize in the last 10 weeks was a statement that meant one thing pre-pandemic, and it kind of means a different thing now, because we've had an interesting viewpoint on what's going on. And if you're a healthcare venture capitalist, you've done nothing other than fund and not fund a bunch of really cool healthcare innovation. And I think we'd all agree that if anything, we would like to see more healthcare innovation. Maybe we would be in a slightly less bad jam if the state, country, and world had been a little bit more focused on this stuff over the last 10 years or maybe the last century. So it's been a very interesting journey seeing this through the lens of our fund. It's been so interesting, in fact, that instead of bringing our next fund online, which was going to be a little bit bigger at the end of this year, we're bringing our next fund online in about 45 days, which is going to be about 5 times bigger. And I don't think it's because our fund got any cooler. I don't think it's because we're better salesmen. I think it's because the world just woke up and realized, oh my gosh, we need more. We need healthcare innovation, not a little bit more, but a lot more. So we're excited to be bringing on another fund. It'll be a fresh, probably close to $100 million fund this time. And we'll be looking for a whole bunch of companies that are doing cool things directly related to COVID and indirectly related to COVID. And my ask, and it's something that we've started to talk to people more and more about, is just getting people to think about, if you will, how healthcare is really no longer a vertical. Most of us have trained ourselves in the last, regardless of what your touch point with the healthcare industry is, we think of it as an industry, or we think of it as a vertical. But I think we're all realizing in the last 10 weeks, depending on when the light bulb goes off, that healthcare is really a horizontal. Look at every industry that we've been talking about today, every industry that affects your life. Those industries aren't getting back on track until they adopt more healthcare. None of us are going on a cruise ship anytime soon. Apparently our kids aren't going away to college anytime soon. We can't go to restaurants. Just so many aspects of our life is being affected by healthcare. And our theory is that's just going to create a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurs to solve problems that aren't necessarily going on in hospitals, although that's cool too, but solve problems where healthcare needs to infiltrate every other industry that's being negatively impacted by the pandemic. So give that some thought. If you have any ideas, or if you have people that are getting businesses off the ground to solve those problems, send them to 301 North Lake.
Thanks, Jay. Good to see you. Next, I've got Ryan, also a Pasadena native.
Yeah, thank you, Minnie. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm Ryan Woodbury. I was born and raised in Pasadena, but went to high school on the East Coast and spent a bunch of time in the Bay Area, but I'm now back in LA, settled on the West Side. But my parents still have some stomping grounds in Pasadena, and I get back there pretty regularly as I run a nutritional supplements business, and our scientific partner actually was founded by a Caltech professor. So I have a lot of reason to be in Pasadena. And it's fun to see on the Zoom here today, John and Alex, who I worked for at Idea Lab many years ago, my freshman year of college. I think when, as my dad would say, I was a minion with no rudder and was probably completely useless all summer. Anyways, Needed, the company I co-founded, is a nutritional supplements business focused on nourishing women before, during, and after pregnancy. I did not expect to end up in the nutritional supplement space. I had spent most of my time beforehand on energy and environmental related issues. My first job was working for an aquarium, teaching kids about marine biology, but I think noticed that in order to get people to care about the environment, what wakes them up to it is when their individual health is affected. And this often becomes most pertinent around pregnancy. And kind of the overall idea of our company is 97% of women in the US take a prenatal supplement while they're pregnant, yet 95% of them are deficient in key nutrients, which sets them up to be, depleted and undernourished and slow to get back to work. And we think that's a problem, as there is therapeutic efficacy in nutrition, and being able to support women effectively in nourishing them properly sets them better up to take care of themselves, their families, and then their broader communities. So the ask for now is, if you have any friends that are pregnant or are wanting to be pregnant sometime in the future, as it's never too early to start. Let them know that their prenatal supplement most likely is not cutting it. There's probably only one on the market that can get close for the vast majority of women, and send them to us to learn more about why. @Nourishment is needed on Instagram.
Thank you, Ryan. Great to see you. Next up, we've got Alex from Idea Lab. This would definitely not be a complete day if we did not have Idea Lab here. So thanks, Alex.
I do feel like there's lots of Idea Lab connections, which is fantastic. I'm a managing director at Idea Lab, a technology incubator and startup studio that was started here in Pasadena in 1996. So we have about a dozen companies in residence, well, at home for now, and about 150 people typically working in our building. As Ryan mentioned, she and I and John Waller used to work together. John was my first boss at Idea Lab, so thank you, John. But my role is to help on the ideation front, help recruit founding teams to run our projects, help out on the fundraising side of things, and support really the younger companies in our portfolio, and then take board seats where I can provide some value of some sort. Right now, we're heavily focused on sort of climate technology and robotics, but we start companies in a wide variety of areas. I'm also on the board of 2 local nonprofits, Innovate Pasadena, which is hosting this wonderful meeting along with Minnie, and STEAM Coders, which is focused on helping disadvantaged and underserved youth learn the fundamentals of STEAM. And although I live in La Cañada now, I've been in and around Pasadena my entire life. My kids were born in Pasadena. My dad worked at JPL for 25 years or so. I went to high school nearby. I learned to swim at the Caltech swimming pools. I had some of my first underage drinks at the bars in Old Town. Hopefully the statute of limitations is long gone by now. Still believe Lucky Boy is the best breakfast burrito, especially if you tell them easy potatoes. Pie and Burger is the best cheeseburger on the planet. You can't prove me wrong on that. And actually, Rob, I get my Ren Spooners at Brookside Golf Club, which just opened up. So maybe you've got a little bit of inventory there. Keep them in stock, please. But just so excited to showcase what a thriving innovation scene we have here in Pasadena. We really do have it all. Anything you need to be an innovation hub, I think we have, and excited to continue to see that grow. My ask is, if you're an entrepreneur with some startup experience and have an extremely high risk tolerance, and want to explore, starting something with us at Idea Lab, please do reach out. We're always looking for talented entrepreneurs to help us start companies.
Thanks, Alex, and thanks so much for Idea Lab. It's a great part of Pasadena. I have next up Jim McCarthy, founder of Gold Star.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jim McCarthy. I know a lot of you. I'm the founder and the CEO of Gold Star, which has been based in Pasadena for 18 years. And we are in the business of selling tickets to live entertainment all over the country. I should say we're usually in the business of selling tickets to live entertainment all over the country. We experienced 100% drop in sales over the course of about 10 days for reasons that you could probably imagine. And so Gold Star is very much a Pasadena bootstrapped company. We've raised money late in our timeline, but essentially grew to 9 digits of gross merchandise value as a bootstrapped company previous to that, and gone through many cycles and ups and downs in the market over the long time that we've been in business. In fact, we were born in the shadow of 9/11, when there was another time when people thought maybe no one's going to want to go out to big events anymore. So we do believe 100% that the live entertainment business will come back, and probably stronger than ever at some point. And in the meantime, we've been focused very heavily on facilitating online live events, which are going from pretty low-key affairs that maybe casual, somebody sitting on their sofa playing the guitar, to more involved. I'm looking at a box that I got sent by the Geffen Playhouse just yesterday that goes with a show I'm watching next Friday at home. And so online live events are emerging and becoming more sophisticated. Our goal over the next several months, while we're in the point that we're at with our industry, is to facilitate, to help our organizer partners that put on the shows actually make it back into the venue safely and healthily, and to facilitate online live events. And I'm gonna honor the clock, but say that the other thing I do is I work with entrepreneurs all the time in a very informal way. There's a meetup that up until a couple of months ago we did every month for 3.5 years that we will continue. that we called the Entrepreneurship Mastermind Meetup. We've had dozens of entrepreneurs bring their entrepreneurial question and problem to that, and we're always overbooked every month for that. And so my ask to you all is, once we reestablish that either virtually or in person or both, I'd love it if more of you showed up, especially those of you with serious entrepreneurial experience, because a part of the experience is question asking and getting advice from those who've been there. So if you would drop in on us, we have a core of really great entrepreneurs who are there, but we can always use more. It's a great high leverage learning experience for everybody else who shows up. So I will let you know when that's back online, and please do come. Thank you.
Thanks for hosting that, Jim. Great. Moving to, we have four more speakers. Bud Bishop from Pasadena Bio.
Hi, how are you?
Hey,
Good
Bud.
to see you. And thank you to everyone for hanging in there to learn about those who presented towards the end of this meeting. You're very patient. I am a native Californian, but spent 14 years in other states during my working career in healthcare research and management. That said, my wife and I have lived in Pasadena for the past 20 years. 3 years ago, I came out of retirement to lead the Pasadena Bio Collaborative Incubator. Founded with the city, help of the city of Pasadena, its goal has always been to contribute to the economic development of our city. We're a wet lab research facility and also actively involved in bioscience workforce development. Over the past 16 years since we opened our doors, we've incubated over 70 different startup companies. Several of them have been extremely successful, but from our perspective, the most important statistic is that more than half of those who left us did so to get bigger. And that's really a pretty high success rate. We currently have 12,600 square feet of wet laboratory space and operate with only 5 people on site, including myself. We provide wet laboratory facilities, a wide range of shared use equipment, office space, and mentoring to, at this point, 31 startup companies. My ask for you is to tell every entrepreneur you meet that if they're thinking of starting a company that needs laboratory space, they should take a look at Pasadena Bio as a place to do it. Thank you.
Thanks, Bud. That's great. Grant from CodeSpark.
Hey there. You can hear me, yeah?
Yeah, you look great.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for having me. This has been super cool. See a lot of friends, and I've learned about some new companies. So my name is Grant Hosford. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CodeSpark. We turn programming into play for young kids in elementary school. And I originally grew up near Tacoma, Washington, basically in the woods. And I first moved to this area to go to CMC, much like Brent and Matt. So we've got another Claremont connection. I founded or co-founded CodeSpark with my partner, Joe Shockett, in 2014 at Idea Lab. Bill Gross helped me think of the idea. I was working there as an entrepreneur in residence, and he also was my first investor. So we have an Idea Lab connection as well. I went to Andy's first Innovate Pasadena coffees, so I'm connected there and have been trying to support ever since. And I've also was a white suitor in the Tournament of Roses for 8 years. So you've probably seen me on a scooter chasing a float at some point. CodeSpark now is the most used platform for learning how to code for elementary school kids. We're in 1/3 of all US elementary schools, and we have 2.5 million users every month. We grew 40% in the last 60 days. So we hear a lot of negative stories about COVID. We're on the other side of that, thankfully. We're very fortunate. And my ask for the community is, if you have kids in our age group, which is elementary school, go to codespark.com and try it out, and tell all your friends to try it out. But there's one other thing. The biggest problem this has revealed in education is the digital divide. There's many, many kids around the country who don't have access to internet and devices. And there's local partners like Steam Coders and like Human IT in Long Beach that are solving that problem. We're supporting them, and I encourage you to check it out and support them as well.
Wow, grants, that's amazing. Business growth, and we will check it out. I have little kids. Stender,
Awesome.
my old friend Stender, how are you? It's great to see you.
Hello, Minnie.
Hi.
Thank you very much for inviting me to your Zoomarama. I think you've now introduced me to everybody in Pasadena that Andy hadn't already introduced me to along the way. I'm delighted to be here to share my my experiences in Pasadena. And I especially appreciate being near the end of the lineup, since I can see that I'm about to win the Longevity Award, having arrived here in 1944. Beth, hey Beth, you can't beat that, can you? No, no. So I was 5 years old at the time, and I've been here most of those 76 years. I escaped for 13 years. I studied and worked and played in places like the Bay Area and Boston and New York. But other than that, I've been here in Pasadena, only incarcerated for the last 6 weeks by my children who locked the door from the outside. So during the current stint in Pasadena, which began in 1968, when Polly and I arrived here as newlyweds, the first half of that time, of that stretch, I was in the newspapering business at the Times Mirror Company in corporate finance. And the last 25 years, I've been investing in early stage companies. That is after we got the kids out of the house and off the payroll so that I could retire. Now, luckily for me, the Pasadena Angels started in 2000 because angel investing, as everybody knows, is much better as a team sport. So especially when one is playing with bright and experienced and inquisitive fellow investors, both men and women. And over these 20 years, we've grown to over 100 members. We've invested about $85 million in 220 companies, and our current run rate is almost $5 million a year, investing in about 25 companies. So any individual angel tends to invest from $10,000 to $25,000 in a given deal. Why is my clock off, Minnie? Shame on you.
Because it went off, because you're over 2 minutes, but you know, whatever.
Not
cool.
either. I brought 2.5 props, I want you to know.
Okay, okay.
I won't talk as long as Jay, but I brought 2 props. They are John and Ken, both Pasadena Angels. Actually 2.5 because John Waller used to be. So it's a very rewarding experience.
And will be again.
My ask is come to our website, learn about us, and there's a lot more to know about angel investing.
Cinder, I really appreciate all you're doing for Pasadena Angels. It's great. Thank you. Yeah, no, and you've done a lot of really good work there. So our last speaker today, last but definitely not least at all, is Beth, who we have so much to thank for bringing Innovate Pasadena here and keeping us all going. Where are you?
I'm here somewhere. Can you hear me?
Yep, great.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Beth Kuchar. I grew up in South Pasadena, so I'm also like another Pasadena lifer. I can't top 1944 though, sorry. I'm a programmer and user interface designer by trade, and I've had a small agency here in Pasadena for like 18 years now, almost 19 years, but I'm also the president of Innovate Pasadena. And I almost feel silly giving an intro about this because if you're on this Zoom, you probably already are familiar with Innovate Pasadena. You already have heard of us or attended our events, now going virtual. But Innovate Pasadena is a nonprofit organization, and this coming June, we'll have been around for 7 years. And we're still pretty much all volunteer driven. So we have 1 full-time staff member, and the rest of the organization is run by a board of directors. A lot of our board members are here on this Zoom, which is fantastic. And you know, they're people who represent Pasadena tech companies, startup CEOs, local institutions like ArtCenter, PCC, Caltech, the city. So we've got this great group of people who have come together, and we're working to advance Pasadena, or we say Greater Pasadena, as a center for technology and design innovation. So meaning we think Pasadena has all the great ingredients to be recognized as a top innovation hub, but in order to get that recognition and stay innovative, we need to mix those ingredients together. So we do things that foster collaboration. We create programs that like help connect people in tech and design and scientific backgrounds together. So my ask is visit innovatepasadena.org if you don't already regularly visit. And I do encourage everyone here to check out our upcoming AMA with Harrison. I know we've plugged that several times already, but join us next Wednesday, noon to 12:30.
Fantastic. Everyone, thank you guys so much for joining. Beth, thank you for all that you do for Innovate Pasadena. My mother's actually on this Zoom, and she always says it's so nice. We should all go meet our neighbors. That's what she always is telling me. And it's so true. It is lovely to meet all of our neighbors. And I just really thank you all for making Pasadena such a nice place to live and work. And I will share out notes. And if anyone wants to get in touch with anyone, you can go through me. I don't mind facilitating that. Pasadena is great. And I look forward to being able to leave my house and see you all in person. Thanks, everyone. So good to see you. Have a great weekend.
Bye, all. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy it.
You too.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. That was great.
Bye. Thank you.